Hey friends, this is Bobby Shanks, and before we get into this week's podcast, just want to remind you, you can check us out on all social media platforms, and if you're interested in audio only while you're driving down the road, check us out on Spotify. All right, so Ian, the pastor of disaster, the most uneligible non-bachelor in St. Louis, my producer. What's up, my man?
Nothing much. How is everyone doing out there?
And next, the one and only discotheque of the Midwest, all blonde and ready to party, Angela.
Hello, how are you?
What did you think of my intro?
I loved it. Nice to see you, Bobby, and nice to see you, Ian.
Everybody thinks I'm such a dork when I talk like that. I probably should have been like some Saturday night FM DJ back in the 80s when I was only 10. But anyways, I'm getting it out of my system now. Hey, what episode are we on? Is this 5?
Yeah, 5.
Cheers.
This is episode 5.
Cheers.
Ding. Episode 5. All right, so as per usual, we're going to start this episode with requested or rejected. Ian, keep it fresh. Let's do it.
All right, topic number 1. So, are we missing, or this is more of a question, do you like bold gestures and or moves, statements? You know, they could be pickup lines, like bold gestures. We're talking like knock you off your seat type gestures. Requested or rejected?
You going first or am I going first?
I want you to go first.
Absolutely requested.
Yes.
And I think that absolutely necessary in today's dating environment because the pool's gotten way bigger, right? I mean, when we were young, you're going to a bar, there's all the people in the bar.
That was the pool.
That was the pool. The pool has gotten huge.
Yeah.
And there is a desperate need to stand out.
Quick question. How many were in your high school class? Because you and I, neither one of us are from this St. Louis.
But I graduated here.
Okay. But
so I grew up outside.
Let's talk about Kentucky.
So I went to a smaller school in Kentucky, probably in my graduating class less than 200, but not as small as yours.
Yeah.
Here it was huge.
Don't be talking about the size.
You brought it up.
So 200. That really influences, in my opinion, one of the ways like I think about dating is because it was easy to be to stand out because I was in such a teeny tiny little area and I never really moved to the big city until I moved to St. Louis.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I will say I probably didn't really date a whole lot in high school. For me, it was college. But the premise that you're speaking of still holds true. That, of course, when you get to college, it's even more people. Your pool gets actually bigger. And so you do learn what you have to do to stand out.
Okay, so before we move on, and this is in fact, probably the first time I actually asked Ian to start with this topic. I believe that bold, intentional, scary gestures are missing on this earth.
Yeah.
And especially in dating. So, without totally putting you on the spot, and you just heard this like 2 seconds ago, can you think of and give for instance, of a bold gesture?
Absolutely. I actually had one in mind. So this was a few years back. So I've been in the dating pond for about 12 years now after my divorce. A few years back, I had gone out on a couple of dates, 2 or 3 dates with a guy that I knew was really feeling it. Probably feeling it more than I was. Just truth in that situation.
Are you undateable, Angela? No.
I did just say I've been in the dating pond for 12 years.
Okay, fair enough.
So I knew he was feeling it a little bit more than I was. We met on a dating app. We both knew that we were on dating apps. I got invited by a second guy to go to a baseball game. And this guy lived in Illinois. I live in St. Charles. He had an hour drive.
Great, everybody, 9 billion people just heard where you live.
In St. Charles.
So, noted.
Cut that part out, Ian. But so he drove an hour, and he was insistent. This guy number 2 was insistent because he I always lead with I'm a Southern girl. I've got very traditional values. He came and picked me up to go back to a baseball game. So I mean, this was a pretty bold gesture too. But that's not even the bold
Absolutely.
gesture I'm talking about. So guy number one had a sneaking suspicion that I was on a date, right? He knew that he didn't know who, he didn't know what, but he had a sneaking suspicion I was probably on a date. I come back to my house from date with guy number two, and there's a huge bouquet of roses sitting on my front porch.
Oh,
This guy thinks, and
yes!
you know what?
I want to meet this man.
He was going to walk me to my door and absolutely get a kiss because he drove from Highland, Illinois to St. Charles to the ball game, back to St. Charles to go back to Highland, Illinois. And it was like 24 roses sitting on my front porch. So, yes, that is probably easily the boldest.
Oh,
and
my
I got to tell you,
gosh.
my thoughts about guy number one, I was already impressed with guy number two because he went like certainly the extra mile. But my
Literally.
thoughts about, a lot of extra miles.
Literally.
But my
An
thoughts,
extra 100.
I tell you what, my thoughts about guy number one, I liked a lot of things about him. There were some concerns that I had. But after that, I thought, all right,
Oh, he crushed it.
game on.
That's like putting your boot on somebody's neck. Like, you know what? How dare you take this girl out? I'm going to let my presence be felt.
And I'm going to tell you, guy number two,
That's so bold.
guy number two, who had been barking up my tree for weeks prior to that. We had a great date. We had a really phenomenal date. Never asked me out again. We became great friends.
I wouldn't either.
We became great friends. We're great friends to this day. He got married. We still, talk about life. He's a phenomenal guy. He never asked me out again. And we had a great date. Up to that moment, we were going to end with a great date, but it just this great date just went like it crashed and burned.
Wow.
So yes, not only was that a bold move, but it was a funny, smart, bold move.
Oh, it was
Like
so smart.
he just nailed it.
Oh, I can totally get why you brought that one up.
Because there was no lose for him, right? Either I wasn't on a date and I was going to come home
There
to
was
a
no
big
lose.
ass bouquet.
Gosh, dang, smart.
Yeah. Or I was on a date and I was going to come home with a guy.
Hey, do you remember when Mark was here and he talked about competition?
Yes.
This is it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Fireside. Fast
Well,
and
you
Furious.
didn't even answer yours.
I'm not going to.
I think
I can't beat that one. I got nothing.
But you're an accepted. That's a given.
Oh, huge.
know, I just wanted to hear.
Requested for sure. Bold gestures and statements, absolutely.
Requested.
Absolutely
How does
requested.
the producer of the show get it wrong? Not accepted, requested.
What did I say?
No,
Oh, requested.
No, I got it wrong.
Get it right, Ian.
I got it wrong.
Ian,
All right,
what
hot
are
topic.
you?
Hot topic.
So we're going to talk about the 5 love languages. So this is probably Bobby's favorite topic in
I
the
love this
entire
topic.
world. But it's surprisingly, it's been 5 episodes, and we've kind of touched on it a few times,
Yeah.
but we've never actually talked about it as a main topic. So here we go, requested or rejected.
All right, so I'm a huge requested. Here's why. I know that I probably come off as sort of a simple Midwestern boy, but I read a lot.
Yeah.
And I feel comfortable saying that here because now I'm actually an author.
Right.
So I feel like I can say it without it sounding smug. And out of all of the books that I have read, Dr. Gary Chapman wrote The 5 Love Languages. I've read that book 5 times.
Yeah.
It is the one book that I have read more than any other book in my life. It's very rare that I'll read a book twice or even review it a second time because I'm a junkie. I just want to push it through the system and go on to the next.
Right. Much like
That
your
one,
dating life.
like it seriously in my nightstand at home. You can pull that book out and a couple others, and that book is actually marked up.
Yeah.
Not only marked up, but marked up from different years that I have read it, both while married
Yeah.
as well as single.
So it's interesting that you
Huge
bring-
request.
Yeah. It's interesting that you bring that up. So I have an interesting story about the 5 love languages in that book too. So I'm a natural studier. When I become curious about something, I love making it on project status. And so I went through a divorce that was pretty devastating. I mean, I will fully admit I left my divorce a pretty broken person in a lot of different ways. I had probably been divorced about 18 months when I first read the book. So my marriage had absolutely ended. Like there was no going back. You know, we were not going to rekindle anything. But I read the book.
I want to emphasize something. You read this book for the first time after your marriage.
I did, but that's what I'm actually.
Whereas most often, it is recommended, referred, and touted, studied, and educated upon in a Christian environment, right? Mm-hmm. Connect groups, small groups, whatever, in the context of marriage classes.
Well,
so I think that's really cool. I just want to highlight that.
Well, remember, I've been divorced for 12 years. True. So the book was really gaining popularity around the time actually that I got divorced.
You're right.
It took me a little bit of time to read it. My ex-husband is also a very smart, very studious person. But I read the book and I was so transformed and touched after I read the book. I felt like, you know, they always say you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And when I read that book, it was like this, you know, everything had lifted. It was suddenly visible to me, all the things that had been missing. And I actually called my ex-husband. Again, we were totally done. And I said, you know, you have to read this book. I said, I tell you what, I firmly believe.
Talk about bold gestures.
I said,
man.
I firmly believe that had you and I read this book when we were married, we potentially actually might still be married.
Together.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, absolutely requested. I think that it is a transformational book. That even if you're in a struggling partnership now, reading that book could totally transform that partnership.
What is your love language?
So I have two that are very high, and the rest are very, very low. And my very top one is actually words of affirmation, but very closely followed by physical touch. They're 1 point apart at the very top of the scale.
Have I told you that I think you're fantastic?
No, but
have
you
I
can
told
tell me
you
again.
that you are absolutely amazing?
Oh, you're speaking my language.
Oh, she played right into it. That's so awesome.
I feel all
That's
glowy and good right now. Like I'm all oozy and good.
So, okay. I know we're supposed to rapid fire, but this one's a topic. So, let me share something with you.
What's that?
You and I click really well.
Yeah.
We're in the same industry. You know, I don't make money writing a book. I have a real job. Words of affirmation is last for me.
Is it really?
Like, I don't need from anybody. You don't need to I don't need my ego stroked. I don't need you to tell me what a good boy I am. Now, look, I like accolades, right? But I don't have mommy daddy issues. I don't need
hey now.
No, listen.
Hey now.
This is coming from the other side.
Right, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if I were partnered, mated with someone whose love language is words of affirmation, like for me to give that person a daily affirmation, like I would have to go cerebral.
You'd have to think about it.
Oh my gosh. Now, my love language is physical touch. Duh, I'm a dude, right?
I have never met a man that didn't have physical touch as either one or two. And I tell you what, for the women out there, like, listen to me. I've never met a man that did not have physical touch as one or two.
So
we got to be paying attention.
I've met
to that.
Gary Chapman in person.
Oh, have you really?
And had a private one-on-one conversation.
Oh, interesting.
So, and I'm going to butcher the percentages here a little bit, but just for fun. They're going to be fairly close. 97% of men are physical touch, and 3% of men make up the other 4%.
Yeah.
3% of women
have that as their top.
Are physical touch.
What comes behind physical touch for you? I would imagine it would be, is it acts of service?
No.
Really?
I don't need people to do shit for me. I am a self-sustaining, symbiotic organism. I do my own stuff. I do my own laundry. You don't have to do shit for me.
Yeah, but you don't want somebody tagging along all the time either, so it can't be time.
It's quality time.
Is it really?
I'm a golden retriever.
That kind
If you're my
surprises me,
person,
actually.
I am going to run and jump on you and lick your face and bury my head under your hair and lick your neck.
That's interesting to me.
And I'm going to hop in the back seat of your car and travel with you wherever you want to go.
So
I'm a dog.
That's really interesting.
I'm a golden retriever.
See, I want great quality time, but I don't need a huge quantity of time because I got a lot going on.
I'm in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not needy, but
Mommy and daddy issues.
yeah.
All right, that's a good stopping.
All right, let's move on. Move on.
right.
On topic. Fast
right.
and Furious, which we have yet to do. One more.
Girls asking guys out, requested or rejected. And then I'm also going to throw this on top of the other one because they're kind of very similar. Girls driving to the date with the guy. You know, she's
I know where
actually the
this
one
Southern
physically
Belle's gonna
driving,
fall on this
guy
topic.
sitting in the
Absolutely.
passenger seat. And just in general, like guy sitting in the passenger seat when they're in a relationship, you know, and requested or rejected. I don't know. Just kind of answer both, just touch on both a little bit.
This is such a hot button for me. I don't even know that I can rapid fire this. This is such a hot topic. This is
You know what?
honest.
I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'll be back, and you just talk while I'm
just gonna
gone.
talk. Do you need a potty break?
I have a feeling you have something to say.
You need a potty break because this is a great time to do a potty break.
I'm a dude. I don't potty.
I mean, you might.
All right, hit me.
I believe that this is actually where so many relationships go wrong. Like literally right in the beginning. I believe that from our design, from our God-given design, that men are designed to hunt
Amen.
and women are not. And when
Preach
you
it.
when you flip that script, you immediately start to cause everyone to start to wonder where their place is.
Yeah.
And so for me,
We've never talked about roles on this show, have we, Ian?
So I am a Southern farm-raised girl. Very, very traditional
love that.
values. And I'm also an extremely confident woman who knows what she wants. And I know, and I said it on your last episode in the little video clip, I know that I want a man in my life that can be if he comes into my life, he is going to be our life leader, our family leader. And I don't need anybody to lead me, but I want somebody to lead us in our spiritual life, in our financial life, in the way that we rear our children, in the big decisions we make as far as things that we buy or how we invest our money or any of those things. And the truth of the matter is that I will never find that person if I'm asking the man out. And I know that. And so for me, it is an absolute no-go. Never, ever have I. Now, once the relationship is established, I'll be cruise director Julie. Like, I'll plan all the dates. But in those early
Hi,
stages...
I'm Barbie. What is it? Barbie Cruisy? I don't know.
I was
Anyways.
doing the Love Boat, but...
Okay. Yeah. The Love Boat. The little white Jeep. What was
Sing it some more.
What? Sing some more.
What was it? Was it Tattoo? Was that the little guy?
Yes, Tattoo.
Yeah.
Awesome. Do you know Tattoo, Ian?
No, sorry.
Oh my God.
The plane.
This is the second
Hey, boss.
reference
Hey,
today
boss.
that has predated my existence.
It almost predates
God.
us. Because my parents watched that show.
With us, because we were
Yeah.
kids.
Oh my God.
You're older than me,
All right,
so if I know
so-
it, you know it.
Staying on that topic. I have been asked out by wonderful women,
Yeah,
and I'm appreciative of that.
absolutely.
I have accepted those invitations, and I've gone on those dates. And I still have friendships with many of them, if not most.
Right.
And I'm okay with it. And here's why. I understand everything you're saying, and I respect it, and I actually don't disagree with you. If a woman asks me out, if a woman were to ask me out and we were to go on a date, for me, my choice, my persona, it does not demasculinate me as a man that I was asked out by a woman.
I don't think that's the problem.
I'm only speaking for me, though.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Because I know that you're going to have something to say, right? A rebuttal,
right,
if you will. Because even though she initiated, right, took the first step forward, if I accept that invitation, I know, and frankly, just as a product of my very nature, like my DNA, I know that it is my role to lead from there. Maybe there's a reason why she needed to get my attention. Listen, we live in a big world now, and I'm a business owner like you, and I just work all the time. So I'm not always looking for someone who's raising their hand. Now, I'm on dating apps and that sort of thing, and I will say that's where I have been asked out, on dating apps.
I totally hear what you're saying, and I get it. I understand.
Have I
understand what you're saying.
mentioned that I think you are fabulous?
Come on, Gooey. I totally get what you're saying, but I just truly believe it's worked for millennia. That
It has.
Here's the thing. Men will go out in the cold, put their tree stand up against a tree, spray dough pee all over themselves.
Now you're speaking my language.
And sit out there for hours just waiting for a deer to come prance.
Chewing skull
Yeah.
with like wet frozen skull running down the edge of their.
Just
How gross
waiting.
is that? That's a dude for you.
Just waiting for a deer to come dance in the meadow in front of them and give them a shot to shoot it, right?
yeah.
They're just waiting. It is in the male psyche to
It
hunt.
is. You're right.
And I believe that a woman has the ability to get your attention by going and dancing in the meadows and not having
You're
to pick
not
up the
wrong.
gun.
You are so not wrong.
I believe that there is a better way to do it. That is one way to do it. But I just feel like it forces a woman into her masculine energy and it forces a man into his feminine energy. And I just think that it becomes more and more difficult the more that you do that early on to flip that script. Because early on, you're really determining how you two fit together.
I don't know what our main topic is today, Ian, but she just said a woman, I'm going to paraphrase.
Yeah.
A woman who operates or presents herself using her masculine energy.
Yeah, if you are
That's
looking...
a huge
Yeah.
topic. I love that. Like, I have tingles.
It's a hard
That's a huge
deal
topic.
for a lot of...
And it's very present.
It is.
Very present.
Here's
these
why.
days.
Because women have become so much more independent.
Yep.
And
That's one reason.
We're doing great things with our lives. And the first thing is we've got to figure out where men fit in our lives. And I think that there's a real problem in our culture where, quite honestly, men desire to be actually more masculine, but they honestly just don't know where they fit in a woman's life. No, it's true. And I actually
if
think
you've
that
watched
the onus,
any of my podcasts, you know where I stand on that topic.
I think that the onus is actually on the woman, not the man. I think that we've got to create a space in our life. We've got to decide where he fits. And we've got to really be vulnerable enough to say, this is where it is and this is what I'm desiring. And then start living into that reality from the get-go. So I'm actually going to take it a step further. I will tell you guys, and I've dated very successfully for more than a decade. I will not call a person first. I will not issue that first text. I will not offer my telephone number unless he asks. Like, I am the quarterback, and hey, I'm the quarterback, and I want to see which defensive ends are going to come and try to sack me.
Oh my gosh.
Like that is my role.
You are a
and only my
mad
role.
scientist.
I am. I've studied this shit.
Evil mad scientist.
That's it. And you know what? Here's the thing. All the ones that don't come around the corners and try to sack me, they're just not my guys.
Yeah, they're not
They
for
really
you.
honestly
They're
just
not
save
your
me a
one.
lot of time and a lot of energy.
Oh my gosh. Are we still on requested or rejected?
I think so.
Holy crap. We just can't get through these fast
Well-
because the topic are just so,
And I'm a
they're so
talker.
relevant.
And that's okay.
This masculine energy thing, and let me tell you something. Oh, I know you'll get this.
Yeah.
The reason why there's so much masculine energy in the female race today, in my opinion, is because, well, let me start over. Just as there is an abundance of masculine energy in the female population today, there is also, I'm sad to say, a lot of feminine energy
Oh,
in the
absolutely.
male population.
Absolutely. And the way that we date today absolutely breeds into it. Because the
does.
people who have the flip-flopped energy
It's a catalyst.
are the ones that have created the way that we date.
Yeah.
The swipe apps, the coffee first dates.
Oh, we're not going there.
All
So I told Angela, look, okay, real quick. Can I?
Of course you
We'll
it's
side.
your
Well, this
show.
okay. I don't want to be rude though, but you just poked me. You poked the bear. I told Angela because we work in the same industry. I don't know, a week ago or whatever it was.
And we're doing a deal together.
Yeah, and we're in the middle of a deal,
Yeah.
a real estate deal. And I told her, okay, I'm just going to spill it all. Here it goes. I told her that going forward, anytime I do first dates, I'm only going to do coffee.
And I said,
And what did you say to that notion?
I said, that's not a date. That's an interview.
You may have had more to say to that.
Well, yeah. So listen, it's just, it's kind of what it is on topic with what we're talking about though, because it is low expectation, low output, high volume dating.
Agreed. And so,
And it works great for you. But as a woman, no woman is, if you ask 1 million women what their best date was, you will not find one that's going to say, it was a plastic cup at Starbucks for 45 minutes. Like, this is never going to happen.
So I disagree with you, but to put my new practice in motion, I had a date recently. It was scheduled for coffee in the brunch hour on a Saturday, and I got stood up.
Kind of deserved it. It was a coffee date.
Whatever.
I know. You probably should just start wearing those on your dates.
Wearing my calves.
Yes.
Wrap my calves with calves.
Just put it over your shoulder.
Yeah. Can I carry a club?
You probably
All
should
right.
be doing that anyways.
So what was the original question? Girls asking guys. I'm a requested.
That shocks me. Yeah, and I'm an absolutely rejected.
Yeah.
Yeah, in a big
You
way.
and I, we could duel this for a long time.
I'm going to throw my hat into the ring for this one.
For the tiebreaker.
So
Go Ian,
my
go, Ian, go.
relationship started technically from her reaching out to me in a different way. You know, there's a lot to this. So, like Bobby said, the second that she asked me out, I took the lead from there. However, or not asked me out, the second she started texting me, she had to make a move in order to get my number.
Oh, I'll make moves. That's,
So here's where the next question is: making the first move as the guy, I mean as the female versus, you know. So if a girl walks up to you at a bar, is that technically asking you out, or is that more of a, hi, I'd like to have a conversation?
Oh no, I think that's a woman actually staying right in her feminine energy. Like dancing in the meadow is what we are designed to do.
True that.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we need to
We agree
separate
on so
those two.
much.
We need
And
to
then we don't.
So
Yeah.
we have to separate those two. So there's the official asking out, the first date, and then there's the first move, and one is okay for both, and I do agree with you that the other is only for one side of the equation.
I knew Ian was a smart man.
Yeah. I got to have somebody smarter than me to keep me in my lane.
Thank God.
Yeah.
That's a tough.
I'm like the Tasmanian devil. I just bounce all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I had to I couldn't have gotten Courtney's number, and the reason was because my friend was actually liked her, and so we actually met through him.
awesome.
So there was no way for me, because at the time, one of my best friends was, kind of interested in her, so
Right.
I couldn't to betray that one friendship. However, she circumvented that other one and just kind of went directly to me, which I think in this circumstance is exactly what we were just talking about. That's the first move. And then after that, it was me asking her on a date. It was, do you want to go do this? Do you want to go do this? I will pick you up from here, there. But I do think that it's okay for a woman to go just say hi and
yeah.
go initiate the conversation. So I do think we need to separate those two.
Yeah, absolutely.
Agreed.
Okay, I'm moving on now. So here's a question. If you are a man, would you get involved with a woman who made more money? And if you were a woman, would you get involved with a man who made less?
All right, hold on. I'm gonna step in here. May I?
On your own show.
Yeah. May I
Of
talk?
course you can.
I'm gonna talk about you, and you can tell Ian to edit it out. And if not, it's just gonna make this part even better.
Okay.
Can we talk about what you do for a living?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Okay. What do you do?
I'm a real estate broker.
And what is the average number of real estate transactions for a full-time working real estate agent?
So you're probably going to be better at this than I am because we've talked about I just kind of am a put my head down and work girl.
Okay.
I would say probably your average full-time person, 8 would be my guess.
At 8 to 10 a year.
Yeah,
And how many did you do in 2020?
82. I'll do a lot more than that in
So
2021.
would you say that you're pretty good?
I've had a lot. I've been really blessed, and I work my tail off. Yeah, but I've
Okay,
been
you've
really,
been
really
blessed.
Yeah.
And you work your ass off.
Yes,
Here,
absolutely.
let me tell you something. If you pray to God to move a mountain, you better have a shovel.
Absolutely.
And you're a girl with a shovel.
Absolutely.
Okay. So I point all that out because I want this audience to know that setting on in this studio today is at, I don't know where we're at in the St. Louis Board of Realtors, but we're at probably 12 to 14,000 real estate agents. And without having actual numbers right here in front of me, because I know where I rank.
I have no idea where I rank.
You're probably in at least the top 250. Because I know where I rank.
I'll beat that in 2021.
Oh, there's no doubt. So now that the audience understands the incredible, and I say this with just professional respect, beast
I
of a
appreciate that.
woman that we have sitting here in front of us, now let's talk about this.
I appreciate that.
As a man, I do not care about a woman's income.
Yeah.
I am neither fascinated by it nor intimidated by it. I just want to like the girl.
Yeah.
You know, she's either my kind of girl. She either likes to go four-wheeling and get mud in her fingernails and help me skin a deer in the garage, or, and dress up. Look at these. Look at these nails right here. Look at these ruby red slippers. And dress up on a Saturday night in a super hot black skirt with perfect curls and go downtown, right, to a skyscraper top restaurant, right? I got to have both.
Right.
And I just don't care what she does or how much she makes. Now, I have a second part to my answer, but before I go on, I want you to chime in.
So my simple answer is that it is not important that he out-earn me. There are things that are important to me. I want him to match my effort. I'm a hard worker. I want to be with a hard worker. I have certain value systems surrounding money. I'm just not a really big spender. I don't have debt, and I want him to have those same values. And I want him to be really, really passionate about whatever his career choice is. If he is a teacher, I want him to be a great teacher. If he is in a service industry position, I want him to be really great at that. So the passion surrounding what it is that he's chosen to do and how he approaches that. I don't want somebody who, is looking to get off, punch out the moment he can and then come home and complain about his job. That would be bothersome for me. But pure income is, because I'm doing okay by myself. It's just not where I care that a man fits into my life.
Yeah. So here's the second part to my commentary. I am, because of the industry that I'm in and that we are both in together, I am around many very successful, high-income earning women who come from multiple walks of life. Some come from the farm. Some come from,
This girl.
Right.
Yeah.
Some come from, the trust fund. And some are retired teachers.
Absolutely.
Right? Start a whole other super lucrative career in their 40s, or
Right.
50s or whatever. So I will say this about men. I'm not this man, but I have read and studied and graduated enough times in my life to graduate myself out of this mentality. And I'm saying this to men who are watching the show. And let me just quickly point out, yes, there are a lot of women who watch this show and comment on this podcast and on this book and on this page, whatever social media you're on. But let me tell you something. I get a lot of direct messages and phone calls from men, including one man from Austin, Texas, who's one of the biggest developers in the entire metro in Austin. And if you don't pay attention to the real estate market in Austin, Texas right now,
It's pretty hot.
it's a multi-billion dollar. And I have personal one-on-one phone calls with this man.
Silicon Valley V2.
It is.
It is.
That's exactly what it is. And he watches this show. You'll never see him comment. You don't even know he exists.
Angela Haldeman. I'm kidding.
Oh, and I might add, he's looking for someone exactly like you.
Austin's a nice city.
Yeah. And I mean, actually, it's funny. We actually had this conversation last night
Interesting.
for about an hour. Not about you specifically, but just in general. Body type.
Right.
Body type was what we were talking about. So, for whatever reason, the average dude, God bless him, totally fine, would be undateable, unable to date a woman like you because of intimidation, inferiority, and demasculinization. And they're watching right now, and they've heard what you've just said, but what they see is the executive, but what they don't see is this is just a wonderful, beautiful, successful, simple farm girl from Kentucky.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So listen, if I intimidate a man, he's not my man.
He's not your man.
Right.
That's right.
And I'm really big on that because, I have a big life too. And I don't want to waste my time with people that aren't going to be my people. And it's okay. I don't need to be everybody's person. But there are so many ways that a man can enrich my life that have nothing to do with the money he brings in. And I have actually been in a longer term dating relationship where the man did not earn what I earn today. Mm-hmm. And, I still was like, hey, I'd really love it if we didn't combine finances, but I was like, you're better at, I'm really good at what I'm really good at. And I'm not really good at everything, but you're really kind of better at figuring out investment strategies and things like that than I am. Do it for me. I'll put you on my bank account. You handle all this stuff, and I'm good with it. Just set me down once a month, once every 3 months,
funny.
Whatever. Because it's just I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I got to go in my masculine energy when I have to do that stuff, and I don't want to do it. But I bring home a great income. I'm feel very, very lucky. Every day I wake up and I kind of think I cannot believe that this is my professional life. But I want somebody, I want somebody who is going to help me get into uncomfortable places for me. And that's probably going to mean him getting into uncomfortable places for him. And anybody that doesn't want to go there, again, it's just not my person.
Okay. I have a series of questions.
Oh my goodness.
So here's question number 1. If your financial situation was 25% of what it is at this very moment, does your answer change at all?
So in other words, if she were to have a 75% reduction in her current income.
And same with you. Does your answer change at all?
Mine is no. We would just live into the income standards that we were in. I still do not care what he makes. There are so many things I care about, and it's just not one of them.
My answer is very simple. I have dated women who have, or I should say, let me rephrase. I have been on dates with women who have an income of over $1 million a year. Mm-hmm. And I have been on dates with women who are on food stamps. I don't give a shit. I care about the person, and I care about how they treat me and how they handle me. Because I'm an interesting creature to handle. I'm sure that you can relate to that, Miss Angela.
Well, I'm kind of the same creature.
Yeah, you are. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
I know you get what I'm saying.
So I'm actually even going to go back and change my answer to your question a little bit. I'm going to tell you that I actually think that that's easier. I think it is easier. And I
couldn't date another me.
No. I mean that when you're... No, I actually am going to tell you that I think it's easier when you have partners that aren't, where honestly you're sort of, there's no big disparity in your income. You're both just sort of, whatever you want to call it, starting out, still struggling, not quite there. And if I had a preference, like my life doesn't exist, I get to build whatever I want, I would actually prefer to not be where I am today, start somewhere else, and grow into where I am today with a partner. Oh. Yeah. Because actually building...
I want to hug you right now.
Well, building, you can.
I am so on the inside of your soul.
That's because your love language is physical touch. I really desire a partner that I can build with. And it's one of the big fears that I have and where I am in life today is that I fear that I'll never actually get that opportunity to build with a partner.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, Ian, I'm like
Okay.
I'm like on the launch pad. I'm ready to explode into space.
Go.
Okay.
Quack.
Insert quack here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this. Look, I'm out here, so I'm just going to make my personal public. I'm really good at making money.
Yeah.
I know that you can relate. I would say that I am average at managing it. I would love to have someone, whether they're at my income level or not, that whatever they don't want, that they can hand to me, because anybody who knows me knows that if you hand me something, I'm going to crush it. I am going to sink my teeth in it, and I am going to own it. And I would like to have someone who I literally could take every single paycheck, business, personal, everything that I do, and I could hand it to them, and I could say to them, I love you. I trust you. I'm giving this huge, and it's huge. It's pretty significant part of my life to you. No questions asked.
Right. Just check in with me periodically. Show me what you did.
You know what? If I can put gasoline in my Harley Davidson, and I can take your fine, sexy ass out on a date once a week, and take my kids on a vacation once a year or whatever, I'm happy to. Whatever.
I still want a part in dreaming the dream. I still want to be able to say, this is my ultimate plan. This is where I'd like to end up. But I trust you to get us there. You make the decisions. I just trust you. I just trust you to take us there.
Okay, I don't want to mislead people, okay? It's not about the dollar amount. It could be $1 million. It could be $25,000.
Because we'll live inside of whatever that is.
It's about
the connectedness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is literally about dreaming the dream and then building it together.
Yeah.
And
I'm so right there with you.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the struggles. So Ian, you are younger than we are. It is one of the struggles about non-first marriage situations. When you're at least for me, because I did get married young. I mean, I was actually still in college when I got married, and so we both were broke college kids. We didn't have anything.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were absolutely we were broke college kids, and we actually in the 15 years that we were together, everything we touched turned to gold eventually. We built a really big life, and I will tell you that in any of my relationships, one of my favorite aspects as I look back over my life and my relationships was that building phase inside that relationship. And it becomes a little tougher to do that when you get a little older, you get a little more established in careers. Everybody has their own investments in, financial house. And to find somebody that you feel like has parity, where you have the trust, you have the same dream, and you can really start to build is actually really hard.
Question number 2. So this was actually my question number 3, but you guys went there.
Thank you for letting me have that moment there.
We're moving to...
Did we?
We're moving question number 3 to number 2.
Yeah.
Question number 2 is, with your financial situations being, let's call it lucrative, and we'll just leave it at that.
For the Midwest.
Does gold digging and or wondering if someone is just with you for your money a factor to you? Does it cross your mind? Do you worry about it?
It's not an issue for me, and I'll tell you why. I won't date someone if they know me.
Well, eventually they're going to know you.
But initially.
So I have 5 children.
Let's go to that. Meanwhile, back at the Kentucky ranch, I got 5 kids. What say you?
I have 5 children. 3 are still under the age of 18.
No wonder you're a beast. You got a lot of mouths to feed.
Well, and those 5 kids were all 10 and under when I became single. So you absolutely have hit upon something that, yes, you talk about drive.
Yeah.
It breeds a lot of drive when you're dealing with something like that.
True
But
that.
I can't say that I've ever felt like I've been in a situation where I've dealt with that. I would say that probably my 5 kids scare off anybody. And I'm good with that. You know what? It kind of just goes back to pre-qualifying people, right? That if somebody is leading with that, then I'm not interested. I don't need my ego stroked. I need a partner. Yeah.
All right, question number 3. So both of you are in a different category of income earners. There are people who are right now working a job, trading time for money. There is another group of people who are doing the opposite of that, having their money work for them. And there is, the amount of hours that they put in, there is a not direct correlation to how much they are earning. They can work 1 hour and earn $1 million and can work 2 hours and earn nothing. Mm-hmm. So you guys are in the latter category of income earners. Does that matter to you, your significant other? Does it matter to you if they are in the other category?
Go ahead.
So first of all, let me just say,
Nothing wrong with either one of them.
You have given me a praise and an accolade that I'm not deserving of.
I'm kind of feeling the same way,
Yeah.
actually.
Let me.
I was like, "Ooh."
Let me make this very clear. I have a boss. I'm self-employed, but I have a boss, and right now it's about 34 clients that are on my forecast up over there on the wall. I have 34 bosses. I absolutely trade time for money every day. And yes, I also have some investment strategies that I'm working on. So I'm the hybrid. You went from level 1 to level 2 or level 3, and I'm in the middle, probably somewhere around the same. And
so I guess where my differentiator is, I make $10 an hour. Every hour I work, I know that I make $10 an hour. You guys, on the other hand, don't. There's no direct correlation to the amount of hours you've worked to like an hourly wage. So that's, or a salaried wage. So that's my question. Is one type of income earner, be it known salary, similar job, 40 hours a week, that type of thing, or the person who is kind of in your own category and doing the opposite? Does that matter to you, or is one more attractive than the other?
So is one more attractive? I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think men and women have a different answer on this.
I don't believe that one is more attractive than the other, but I will say that I do believe that people who earn money the way that I earn money have an understanding of my joy and pain in a way that an hourly person is just not going to understand. Am I going to date based upon one or the other? The answer is no. Do I believe that I have, I just believe that people, so we're both real estate brokers. We're actually both brokers.
Yep.
We're self-employed people. And by the nature of what we do, and again, single mom of 5 kids for 12 years, I am very tied into the fact that I can have a great year and there can be something that happens and my next year might not look so great. So again, very low ego in what I do. It feels a little weird. It's almost a little embarrassing, like the way you phrase that, because I was sitting over here thinking, like, I don't feel like that person. I just happen to be somebody who's strung together a few good years. And I'm stringing together, I believe, in the future, a few good years. But you never know what tomorrow brings when you're self-employed and your income is based on a lot of factors that have nothing to do, honestly, with how good you are at doing it. So that said, I would date either. But I do believe that other people who are just sort of in that lifestyle that I'm in get me and get my fears about money, about finances, in a way that probably an hourly income earner just isn't.
That's what I was getting at, is that, hourly workers don't necessarily see that day-to-day up-down struggle. You're up for an hour, and then 2 hours later, you are in the dumps, and you've had the worst day. And it was a great day all the way up until then, and then it turns out to be the worst day ever. That understanding between people, and knowing that, for lack of a better term, like you said, income is variable for you guys. It's a good month, a bad month, a great month, and then the worst month I've ever had, and you can have it all within the 4 months. And for someone who either doesn't understand that, or for someone who is looking for consistency in their relationship, and consistency in income, and consistency in bills, and all that, and structure, that can be very intimidating and scary.
So I actually have a great story of this, and I don't want to overshare because, I just don't want to overshare.
Please do. This is. Look, we have fun on here.
Yeah.
Right, and everything we do is fun and lighthearted and comical, and we drop a few, anecdotes, whatever. But this is an important topic.
So, last year, COVID. Maybe people will be watching this, many years down the road. But last year, 2020, COVID hit. And I had started the year with a bang. So I said this year is going to be phenomenally better than last year. Started the year with a bang. Ended the year with a bang. Running like crazy in 2021 so far. We're in February of 2021. But when COVID hit last year, because of the nature of the type of real estate that I do and the type of clientele that I work with, they got scared. And I went 4.5 months last year. I went 4.5 months with no closings last year.
No.
And at the time, I was dating somebody who was a high income earner but a salaried person. He got a bonus. But he was a high income earner but a salaried person. And I innately knew that it was temporary. It was going to come back. I had a phenomenal early part of the year.
I did too.
I had a kick ass second half of the year, the last part of the year. But I had closed 82 transactions last year. I went 4.5 months with no closings. And he freaked the heck out. For him, it was a freak out moment. And I, as a real estate broker I've been in this business 20 years, I'm like, listen, it's going to come back.
Yeah.
And he was ready for me to go find another thing to do. I'm like, I've been in my career for 20 years. 20 years. This is what I do. I love what I do. I can't even imagine doing something else.
Yeah.
And he was ready for me to go find another job because he couldn't understand it.
Yeah, there's people even in our own industry that don't understand what we understand.
Right. And so for me,
Yeah.
Is there a benefit to dating somebody who understands? The answer is yes. Is it a must? It is not a must.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next topic.
So we're going to talk about chemistry. Question for the audience here.
You're right.
And
This
for
is my topic.
The two people sitting over there. Do you need to have sex in order to know if they are relationship potential or to know if you have chemistry with them? Or kiss? I mean, one of the two.
Well, there's a wide.
Yeah.
Distance.
I'm good with this. I'm good with this.
Do you need to have some sort of physical interaction with them in order to know?
Okay, so before we punch on here, let me just say that these topics that we're talking about here, we don't just come up with these out of thin air. These come to us from direct messaging, comments on multiple platforms of social media, and
sorry, wasn't making noise over
these
here.
topics are coming from you. So by all means, right here in the video, write a comment, send a direct message, because we're paying attention. So, interesting.
I want you to answer first because I actually think I need to think about my answer.
Yeah. So, my love language is physical touch. Mm-hmm. And if someone, you know what? I'm going to do it. So I'm dating someone right now. That just kind of got figured out over the weekend. Determined, figured out, agreed upon, whatever. And I initiated. If she said, I will not have sex with you, I would be fine with it. 100%. So, I mean, in a nutshell, there's my answer. Now, there's other complications that come with that, like if she were to say that, I would have to start asking the question of myself, okay, for how long?
Right.
Okay, does this mean we have to be married first? Okay, let's assume that's the answer. And I don't know the answer to that. And then I have to start asking myself, okay, do I want to get married again?
Right.
You know, so it's dominoes, right? Dominoes. What is your answer?
So I'm dating differently today than I have in the past. Again, I've had a long time, and I've had some relationships in there, but I've been in the dating world now for a long period of time, and I am much more dating with intention today than I ever have in the past. And so I'm dating differently. And one of the commitments that I made to myself, one of the boundaries that I set, and listen, this took a lot of self-talk because I am a strong, independent, very sex positive woman, but I also had to recognize what works for me and what doesn't work for me. And I just had to level with myself that as much as I am in so many ways in my life, I'm the cool girl, I love hanging out with the guys, like I get it, I get male humor, and I just want to kind of be okay with things, that it did not feel good for me to have sex with somebody that didn't belong to me. It did not feel good to me to have sex with someone and see them the next day on a dating app looking for the next woman to have sex with. And that was a hard reality for me because that is not a cool girl stance whatsoever. But it was a stance that was right for me. And so today I have made the decision that until we have made an agreement that we are dating mutually exclusively, there just will not be sex. There just will not be, because it doesn't work for me. It doesn't make me feel good. And even though the sex may feel good in that moment, I don't feel good afterwards. So will I go into a relationship without having sex with a person? Yes. In fact, that is the way I'm dating today. Once we are in that relationship, there are just, we used the word parity earlier. There is just either going to be parity in sex or there's not. And a disproportionate parity in sex would cause me to probably say, again, this is not my person. It's been great. We gave it a try. However, we're probably not right to move forward together.
All right. So by request of...
Sexy is your middle name.
By request of our two co-hosts over there, they want to talk about this topic. They're excited.
It was
true.
way more Bobby than me.
It's true because
Mom.
you and I share this energy.
It was way more Bobby than me, Mom.
It's not true.
Yeah, you guys just let your
We
parents
share
know.
this energy, so let's do this.
Let your parents know, that
Mom and Dad,
you know,
not sorry.
Such a bad influence.
this
love
isn't
you.
normal. This isn't normal for either of you, I'm guessing. Well,
All right, lay it on us again.
all right, so how do you handle it, or do you care, when your new love interest expresses that they like kinky sex?
You're going first.
Oh,
We're going to struggle getting a host on the show.
Yeah, we're going to
If you
scare
just-
everybody
yeah,
away.
if you keep throwing them
Look,
under
this
the bus.
isn't a big
my name's
deal.
Angela Haldeman.
This
I'm
isn't
the
a
new
big
host
deal.
of Undateable.
This isn't a big deal.
It isn't a big deal? Is that what you said?
I don't think so. No.
So to
This
me,
is easy. This is easy topic. People think it's hard, but it's not.
So to me, it depends upon how new the love interest is. So there's a definite part of me that wants to make, and I don't want to take this too serious, but I want them to know me before they are like asking questions about like my nipples, right? Like I want them to know what at least rattle off one of my children's names before you want to ask me questions like that, right?
So they need to know you.
I want them to know
They have
me.
to
Like I
really
want them to be
genuinely know you.
interested and
I'm down
legitimately
with
interested
that.
in me.
Yeah.
Once you've established that, if this was a requested or rejected, I mean, like, listen, it's requested because the last thing I want. I mean, I'm a professional woman. I'm a mom. I have a living, mother. I've got family. I'm, whatever. But at the end of the day, I want sex to be fun. I want it. And I want it to be good, and I want it to be fun. And if somebody is experimental, bring it on. Like, tell me what it is that's going to make you happy, and let's give it a go. And if it doesn't work for me, I'm bold enough that I'm going to say, like, hey, listen, that didn't work for me, but let's try the next thing. So, yes, bring it
All
on.
right. So the gerbil in my head, the wheel is spinning so fast, it's smoking.
Great choice of animals.
So the gerbil. Oh my gosh, I totally did that to
I
myself,
cannot
didn't
believe
I?
you chose that
I
animal.
can't believe I did it either. All right, well, enjoy that laugh. All right, so first of all, let me say this. Under the sun, whatever kinky thing that you thinking is special or new or unique, or that you're afraid to ask your significant other for, it's already been done. It's already been thought about. It's already been discussed. It's been done a million times over millennia.
Absolutely.
So take a deep breath, capture your Zen moment, go to your special person, and with calmness and with humbleness, say to them, love, I want to talk to you. And don't just look them in the eye, look them in the soul.
Right.
Because there's always the person that initiates. And I'm going to say something, when it comes to this topic, it's not a male-female thing. Angela, it's not.
Well, I'm wondering.
And let me tell you something. There's a lot of women probably watching this right now that are like, oh, I'm a girl and I can't. No, it's 50-50.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And you know what? I'm not even going to say 50-50. It's 60-40.
Women, probably.
60%
Yeah.
women.
Because men are afraid to say it, I actually think.
Yeah.
I think men think it before women, but women verbalize it before
You know
men.
what? I'm going to do this. I had a conversation with a very wonderful gal recently who's a viewer. And she was telling me about an experience that she had with someone that was very special to her. And she didn't have the guts to follow through on the thing that she really wanted to do with her
Partner,
man.
yeah.
And she was telling me about it, and I'm sitting like, as a dude, and let me tell you, it was provocative. It was, it would make most men, shall we say, pucker.
That's even better than the gerbil reference, but go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for laughing. I'm glad. I know that you get it. And I'm like, listen, just speak up.
Yeah. So there's
Just speak up.
So this is I believe that actually the sexual relationship is one of the most is probably the biggest area in a relationship where communication just becomes very, very key. And communication and this safety that has been developed and the trust that has been developed between the couple and the ability to be vulnerable with each other and to state what it is that you need and desire, and then to negotiate as a couple on how you're going to handle that moving forward.
Yeah.
That is the very definition of intimacy. And whatever that looks like for the couple is what it looks like for the couple. And honestly, nobody else's opinion matters.
Yeah, it's intellectual property.
It is.
I've said this before. What happens between him and her behind their closed doors and their monogamous, committed relationship, it's intellectual property, and it's nobody's business but the two of them. And if you want to go a step further, it's nobody's business but between the two of them and Jesus.
Absolutely.
I'm going to go there. I'm not shy.
But listen, I think that any great relationship, you can be scouring the peaks of the highest mountains, going to the most, remote places on earth. But if you have a boring, monotonous sex life, you're probably, somebody's thinking something that they shouldn't be thinking. I mean, there's probably
True
just a
that.
reality there.
Oh, yes.
And so
You're so right.
if you're going to bring adventure in any one place in your life as a committed couple, because I've already stated like my thoughts on that. As a committed couple, if you're going to bring adventure in any one area of your life, you better be bringing it to the bedroom.
Amen.
However that works for you guys.
Amen.
Because you don't have to travel. You don't have to have a whole lot of money. But if you're not connecting and keeping it fresh and sexy in that area and continuing to renew that intimacy that comes out of that, you're probably going to have relationship issues at some point. Ian just closed his
I've
laptop.
really loved having you here. You and I really click because we do have that affinity of coming from the same industry in our daily occupation, and it shows. I dig that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think that's a wrap. I mean, this episode's over, right, Ian?
Yeah. It's over.
I'm good.
Time to go get some food.
Let's go get some food and drink some whiskey.
Bourbon.
Up Kentucky. Yes, bourbon.
See you next week.
Next week. Peace out.